Hey, welcome to a new video. Welcome to my floor, because today I'm doing something a little bit differently for you. To kick off the new year, I thought, why not do my eyeshadow palette collection? And you're going to be seeing the part of my eyeshadow collection that are all of the larger palettes that I have. I keep them all together in a separate drawer. I'm going to take you over there to show you real quickly where I keep everything. But since that corner is a little bit dark, I'm gonna have to sit here on the floor and show you each palette close up. Since there are quite a few palettes here, let's just get straight to them. So very quickly, this is my palette drawer. Apologies for the lighting here, but this is where I keep all of my larger palettes, and these are the ones that I will be showing you today. This is a Dior travel exclusive. I mainly got it because of this shade, which is like a purple burgundy with a gold shimmer running through it, but this navy and brown are also really stunning. As you can see, I don't use this all the time because all of these shades are very shimmery and you definitely need to take on something else in order to make this work. Another more miscellaneous palette is this one. This is the Anastasia World Traveler palette. Again, this probably shows light use. I have so much eyeshadow that I don't really go through my shadows all that quickly. This pink champagne shade is the one that everybody raves about, which is absolutely true. It's very, very stunning. Soft peach and spoiled are also very pretty. And I also like these brownie shades here. It's got a good blue, a nice purple, so a few pops of color to play with. I have some old school Too Faced here. This is the Naked Eye palette. As you can see, this palette has a lot of cool neutral tones, very grayish. I especially like Lap Dance, as well as Like a Virgin right here, and Unmentionables as well. I like using this to create a soft gray smoky eye with this. Another palette that is also in this drawer is the Tartelette In Bloom, which I absolutely adore. As you can see, again, it's very neutral and it has a lot of like brownie shades. It has a few shimmers in here. I especially like Firecracker, which is this one right there, but I really like the row at the bottom as well as this more neutral tones right here. And I like how it has a couple of good dark shades that aren't necessarily black. One of my favorite palettes is this Stila Eyes Are the Window of the Spirit palette. Kitten is in here. I also really like this shade, which is Pigali. And I also really like this row of browns here. And this blue tone gray is absolutely stunning for like a very deep and smoky eye as well. This is the next palette, and this is the Viseart Sultry Muse palette, and this is one of those very expensive. I think these retail for about 80 euros or something. I don't think this is worth the price. The shimmers in here are incredibly stunning, I do have to say that, but I think you can reach similar looks with, for instance, the Stila palette I just showed you, which is at least half the price. And last but not least, this affordable option by Morphe. This is the 12NB, I believe this is called. I thought this had actually quite different shades looking at these shades online. So this is a bit of a dud for me. I thought this was more of a burgundy, but it ends up being more of a brown. It does have a couple of really interesting crease shades here at transition shades, especially this brown right here, which is very sort of, it has almost like a yellow undertone, which again works really, really nice in the crease. Some more miscellaneous eyeshadow palettes then. This is Marc Jacobs. This is, I believe, the Starlet palette, and if you are in the market for a couple of really stunning metallics, I would say buy this, especially this coppery shade right here in the middle, the pewter right here, and also these three neutral shades are absolutely stunning. Again, this isn't a type of palette that really works on its own. You definitely have to pull in something differently, but I do really enjoy this. One of my newest purchases is this one. This is the Makeup Forever Artistic palette, and this was limited edition for Christmas this year. It contains 9 different shades. I really liked it that it had like some unusual pops of color right here on the left. It's got a good navy, and I really wanted to try a selection of Makeup Forever eyeshadows because these are my Inglot palettes. This was the Freedom System, so I made these myself. I have a Fall Winter palette, which I made in 2 goes, as you can see. These are my Fall Winter shades, and then I also made a Spring palette, so that's them. I have like a flesh tone neutral in here. This teal in here is absolutely gorgeous. And I also really enjoy this reddish brown shade. This lavendery purple is one of my favorite shades for spring summer. Then My MAC palette. I bought a lot of MAC when I first got into makeup, and at that time MAC was pretty much the only brand that did good eyeshadow. This is what mine looks like. I've got some like highlightery lid shades over here, some more like lid and transition shades here. Then I've got some colors in this row. This row is for like the deeper, darker shades, and these are my highly shimmery either colors and also some neutrals. These are all of my Zoeva palettes. The first two that I got were the Cocoa Blend and Rose Golden. Zoeva palettes are great quality and just I really enjoy these eyeshadows. This is the En Taupe, which is very cool toned. Zoeva do some great and unique neutral shades. And then these are the latest two. This is Blanc Fusion, which is very golden toned, yellowy, with some good neutrals, matte neutrals at the bottom. And this is the Caramel Melange, which has these reddish tones, more of like a copper, as well as these like warmer toned shadows that go really nicely together. I also have two very large palettes in here. This is one of those 120 color palettes. I'm not a big, huge fan of it. I bought this because you get so many colors. The only reason why I still keep it around is because it has a red. And then another eyeshadow palette that I really never use, I think, is this one. This is the Sephora and Pantone Universe. It does have a really nice huge mirror, but I'll just show it to you like this. I pretty much keep it for this seafoam green shade right here. These are incredibly powdery. They pretty much blend into nothing. So for the few pops of color in here, that's why I keep it. I have one more Anastasia palette. This is the Modern Renaissance palette. I do kind of get the hype, but reds and pinks definitely have to be your cup of tea if you want to like this palette. I actually really enjoy cool and neutral toned eyeshadows, and I really have to be in the mood to wear a warm eye look. But I do have to say that I liked every single look that came out of this palette, and some of these shimmers are absolutely gorgeous. I love these two transition shades, and I really enjoy antique bronze as well. I have one Kat Von D eyeshadow palette. This is the Monarch palette. And I really, of course, just like everybody else, bought it because of that orangey shade right there in the bottom. I do really like the layout of this because you have your warm tones here, then you've got your neutrals here, and you've got your cooler tones in the middle. I really enjoy this rose gold shade a lot more than I thought I would at the beginning. I really like this taupe as well. I don't really like this highlighty shade because it has a lot of like chunky glitter, but these two are incredibly nice as well. This little stack are the Balm palettes. I really enjoy the Meet Matte Nude palette. I really like pulling this in when I'm doing like a more colorful look, as this has all matte shades. I really like blending Matte Sing and Matte Malloy together to create like the best, like most stunning brow bone highlight shade for my skin tone, you could say. And that's what I like with this palette. You can really mix and match these and sort of create your own shadows. In a way, it just allows you a lot of creative freedom. Because I really liked the Meet Matte Nude, I also purchased the Meet Matrimony palette. And I do have to say that I like this palette. Again, the quality of the shadows in this palette is absolutely stunning. But these shades right here are a lot darker, and I feel that this palette isn't as customizable as the Meet Matte Nude. I do really like this Matte Lin shade, and I really enjoy the Matte Kumar, like this burgundy shade right here in the middle as well. Then I also have the Nude Tude and the Nude Dude palette by the Balm. I bought the Nude Tude at a super duper discount. I only paid €2 for this palette. I don't reach for this all that often, but the reason why I keep it is because this is a neutral palette that has very different shades to a lot of my other neutral palettes. I like this sexy shade, this burgundy right here. This is absolutely stunning. Silly is that shade, but with a lot of like rose gold, golden shimmer running through it, which again is very good for like a smoky eye. And that's what I like to use this palette for making smoky eyes. This is one of the best palettes I own. Do you get a lot of like versatility out of this. No, you don't, but it definitely serves a purpose in my collection. One of my most recent purchases is the new Nude palette. One of the reasons why I got this, and as you can see, I've barely used it because I only just got it like a month ago. This flirty shade is like a rose gold with like a golden sheen to it. So again, what the new Tude also has, this has as well, I feel, which are just some really unique neutral shades. Flirty is one, funny is one, fit is one. The very first Balm palette I ever bought was the Balm Voyage Volume 1. This has the lipsticks and cheek products at the bottom, and then you have your eyeshadows on top. Again, this is not a palette I use a whole lot, but again, this teal I absolutely love. I love teal eyeshadows. It also has this really like nice cocky olivey green shade right here. This purple is stunning. Moving on to some more affordable eyeshadow. This is my I Heart Makeup collection. This is the first one I got. This is the I Heart Chocolate palette. I'm not sure to what extent it actually dupes the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, but as you can see, if you look at these shades, that's definitely the intention behind this palette. It has some gorgeous shades. I really like this one, this green shade right here, this burgundy down there at the bottom. The golds in here are very pretty too. Then the second one I bought is the Chocolate Vice palette, and again, if you know your Too Faced, then you will see that this is definitely inspired by the Sweet Peach palette. Again, some really good golds. That's something that makeup or I Heart Makeup is very good at. It has another like peachy golden shade right here. I really enjoy the highlight in this. This is like a very like white but with like a golden sheen highlight, which is incredibly stunning, and it has a couple of nice darker shades too. This was a very random purchase. I absolutely hate the packaging of this. This is the Naked Underneath palette, and these are all very sort of neutral browny gray shades. So especially this part right here of the palette, that's what sucked me in, this like reddish brown again. These deeper shades here, these two cool tones, that cool tone, this like bluish gray shade. I really enjoy that type of gray shade if it has that blue undertone for a smoky eye, and it's got some good neutrals to blend. For Christmas 2016, I Heart Makeup released the Golden Bar palette, and again, packaging of this sucked me in. This has some super duper stunning shimmers. Every single shade in this has a bit of a golden tone to it. Again, it has this really stunning like green, this like deeper like old gold kind of look here as well. You've got a really nice copper. This red is really, really stunning as well. Also in affordable eyeshadow palettes is Makeup Revolution. This is the Flawless palette. So as you can tell, these shades right here, this green, this blue, this taupe, those are the shades that I really veer towards when I grab for this palette. The problem with Makeup Revolution, you get 32 pans in this palette, but not all 32 pans perform uniquely different. So for instance, this shade and this shade will pretty much look the same on your eyes, as well as some of these blendy shades right here on this side of the palette. I also have one of the Flawless Matte palettes. This is the Flawless Matte 2. It has a couple of more unique shades, especially these peachy shades right here. I really enjoy. Again, like with the other palette, this half of the palette looks very, very identical once you start blending them on the eye, but you do get a couple of like nice cool neutrals right here, and I'm a cool neutrals kind of girl. Quite possibly my favorite Makeup Revolution palette is this one. This is the Fortune Favours the Brave palette. This palette is probably one of the best performing Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palettes that I own. The shimmers in this are really, really stunning. I really like these greens right here. Also these burgundies and plums are really nice. It's got some good coppers, and this is one of those can do it all type of palette. And then this one, this is the Neutrals versus Neutrals palette. I do have to say that I liked this when I first got it, but I feel that I get very similar looks out of this that I can get with other palettes as well. The neutrals at the bottom do add a nice little touch here, but I'm not too keen on this one. I like it, but I don't love it. Well, let's do Too Faced then. I went for this semi-sweet first, so let me show you that. This is the semi-sweet. I really like these two shades right here in the bottom. Also, is this Rum Raisin? Yeah, Rum Raisin is one of my favorites as well. I really like my taupes. And I really like the peanut butter shade, just like everybody else. Then I actually got the Sweet Peach palette. Again, this palette has some absolutely stunning shades. I do think that this is the type of palette that I would like to use more during springtime. I really, really like these two purples right here at the that side of the palette. But also Nectar is one of my favorites, as well as Peaches and Cream. Georgia is one of my absolute favorite, like flesh-toned colors. It goes very well with my skin tone. I also have the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette. The reason why I got it is the shades and not the packaging. Out of all of the Too Faced palettes, I think this looks absolutely tacky, but hey, it's the product and the way that works that matters. This Cafe au Lait shade, stunning. Molasses Chip, absolutely stunning. I love this Earl Grey shade as well. And these two right here, Almond Truffle and what's this called? Cashew Chew, are also absolutely stunning shades. I also have some Lorac palettes, Lorac 1, 2, and 3. I first bought the Lorac Pro 2 over the 1 because, again, this has a cooler scheme to it. I really like these three shades right here at the bottom, so Rosé, Mocha, Chrome. Jade is one of my absolute, like, intense green shade, and I like how you get a couple of pops of color right here at the top. Nectar is my favorite blending shade. This is the original Lorac Pro that everybody always raves about. I do really like this palette, don't get me wrong. I really like Garnet. Pewter is one of my favorites. And also Deep Plum is really nice. I like Mauve a lot too. The taupe is really nice as well, but for instance, I find Nude and Champagne too similar to one another. This gold is a bit too yellow for my skin tone, and then these three shades are a little bit too dark for me. If you are like me and you have a fair skin tone that it pulls more pinky, cool, neutral, then the Lorac Pro 3 is definitely one that I can recommend. Again, this palette is one that nobody really likes. It seems this has gotten quite a few bad reviews, but it's very light and it's very neutral. So if you have a medium tan to dark skin tone, this palette isn't going to work for you. As you can see, these darker shades on this side of the palette aren't all that dark, but I personally love that about it. Blanc is a great matte highlighty shade. You've got light gold, which is super duper pretty. Almond Pearl is really nice as an all over, like, shiny shade, but also works in the inner corner. Pink Nude works as a blend shade for me. These two shades are perfect in the crease. Dark brown is great for an outer V shade, and I really enjoy these four as lid shades. Amethyst as a pop of color on the lower lash line, and Truffle is stunning as a liner. The only shade in this palette that a lot of people say doesn't perform very well is Medallion, and that is true with a brush. This is very difficult to pack onto your lid, but this is one of those shades that really needs the oils of your fingers to apply well. Shall we just move on to the fun stuff? This is my Urban Decay collection. I know, it's a lot. But Urban Decay simply makes one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. This is the brand that really got me started on eyeshadow, you could say. I'm just going to start off by showing you these two. This is the Urban Decay Deluxe Shadow Box. This is one of my very first eyeshadow palettes ever. It's not being used a whole lot because of some of the brighter shades in here, even though that is the reason why I keep this palette around. The only reason why I still really have this palette are these two purples at the top. This one, I believe this is called the Sustainable palette. I believe color-wise, this isn't necessarily my favorite palette. This has some classic Urban Decay eyeshadows. It has Midnight Cowboy Rides again. It has Oil Slick, but also Half Baked, YDK, which we know from the Naked palettes, and also Twice Baked. Only reason why I kept this palette around is Twice Baked and Midnight Cowboy Rides again, because those are two classic Urban Decay shades, and to buy those as singles while I already have them in this palette that I bought years ago, I might as well keep this one around. These are the Urban Decay Naked palettes. So this is my original Naked one. As you can see, it doesn't look that used because it's not my favorite. Again, these are very warm, very dark, and I do really like Smog and Dark Horse for like a more of a smoky look. I like Toasted, that's a very nice one too. I tend to go for these four mostly, and then Sidecar as well. The very first Urban Decay Naked 2 palette that really saw me use it on an almost daily basis is Naked 2. Busted and YDK are definitely have seen a lot of use. Busted definitely as a liner shade more so than anything else. My favorite shade in the palette is Chopper, which is this light copper shade. And I really like these four as well. Possibly my favorite Naked palette, which was of course released a lot later than the other two, is the Naked 3. This goes so well with my skin tone, and as you can see, I've definitely gotten a dent into Trick, which is my absolute favorite shade. I also really like Liar and Factory. This is the very first Naked palette of which I actually liked the darker shade. The Naked Smoky, which is probably my least used one. Naked Smoky isn't necessarily the one that I use the least because I don't like it, but because there are very few shades in here that actually work for me. I really like Slanted. That is my favorite shade in the entire palette. Together with Dagger, this makes like the perfect smoky eye for me. But Black Market and also, what's this called? Smolder. These are too dark for me. In fact, Smolder looks just like Black Market on my skin tone. You can't see that it's purple. These mattes are really nice, but again, I think that these two are a little bit too dark for me to work as a transition shade. I just mentioned Vice palettes. These are the ones that I have. So the first one that I bought was the Vice one. This hasn't been used too much. Some of the shades in here are a little bit like flaky. For instance, Jagged looks absolutely stunning in the pan, but once you start applying it, it does have a little bit of fallout. I do really like these purpley shades right here. Blitz is my all-time favorite gold, and it does have some nice neutrals at the bottom as well. So this is the Vice 2. This has seen a little bit more use. Again, the purples. Urban Decay just does purples like no other. I really like Prank. Stash is one of my absolute favorites. It's like a goldenly olivey color. Shell Shock is one of the best silvers ever. And I also really liked X-Rated because that's like one of the best pinks that seem to work on my skin tone. Now the Vice 3, these shades right here are absolutely stunning. Sonic is one of my favorites. Dragon is my favorite green by Urban Decay, most definitely. And also Lucky, as well as these like neutral shades are absolutely stunning. I also like Last Sin and Angel. So yeah, this is definitely the palette that is laid out the most logically, which is why I think so many people like it, because you just have a couple of quads that you can pretty much use and you've got a look. Then the Vice 4, this isn't as nicely laid out as the Vice 3, but again, these neutrals here are absolutely stunning. I really like Fastball. I also really like Flame. I really like Crowbar. This Arctic shade, which is like a very nice shimmery turquoise color, you could say. Harlot is also really stunning. It has like a very pinky purpley shade to it. This hasn't gotten the most use because I tend to prefer the Vice 3 out of all of my Vice palettes. But this packaging, look how stunning. And then we get some like super duper limited edition collections. This is the 15th anniversary palette. Deep End, Evidence, Ace, and Omen are my favorites in this palette. The neutrals in this palette are a little bit too shimmery for my tastes, even though Vanilla is a really nice like inner corner highlight. A palette that I like to keep in its packaging because it's too stunning to throw away is the Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass collection. And the packaging of this is incredibly impractical, so I don't tend to reach for this all that much, but it has some stunning duochromes that I love. Time is one of my favorite shades. Celis and Grum is absolutely stunning too. I enjoyed every single look I created with this. We have my latest purchase, and this is also the last palette I will be showing you. This is the Urban Decay Full Spectrum palette. The packaging is again super duper stunning. This palette seems to be getting quite a bit of hate because of the quality, that it's not consistent enough. I think that if you're not a makeup artist, if you're just a regular person who'd like to play around a bit more like color, that would be me, then this is a really nice palette to own. It has a couple of standout shades like Gossip, Calavera, that's a stunning shade as well. Blindsided, Minx, some of these purples again work really nicely. 100 is stunning. Midnight Blaze worked really well for me. Warning and Alchemy as well. I just think that Joneses is a shade that is really very much of a letdown because it doesn't pull as orange as it looks in the pan because it's quite sheer. Yeah, there's only one or two shades in here that really, I think you can't work with very well, that need a lot of work, but everything else works just fine. So those were all the palettes that I'd like to show you. I know there are so many palettes here. I'm not going to apologize for anything. I just really enjoy makeup. This is what I like to do in my spare time. I do my makeup every single day, and I like to rotate my palettes as much as I can. I use a different one on a daily basis, which is why so many of them look very lightly used, because I never like use one palette for like a month at the time. I use a different one every single day. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe because I make new videos every single Sunday. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye!